This is Darren from Ilkeston Web Design, and this YouTube video is actually a SoundCloud recording. So I'm going to hand you over to Darren, that's me, and we'll take it from the top on SoundCloud. Hello, in this recording I'm going to demonstrate how you can use a free SoundCloud account to market your business. And there's plenty of ways to host audio, but I think SoundCloud's a really great way to test the water because it's free. And in this recording, it's going to be split into 3 sections. Section 1 is a quick introduction to podcasting, and I'll be talking a bit about SoundCloud as well, including microphones, recording, logistics, that sort of thing. Section 2 is about content, style, and presentation, plus 5 examples of how a business can use podcasting for marketing. And section 3 addresses some of the concerns or questions you might have regarding podcasting. Before we get into all of that, let me just say that what is being recorded now is actually being created simultaneously as both a SoundCloud audio recording and as a YouTube video recording. So if you're listening to the SoundCloud recording, you might want to watch the YouTube video as well, because I have all the visual stuff, you know, the mouse moving around on the screen and me showing you stuff. All you need to do is go to www.ilkestonwebdesign.com/SoundCloud, or click the link in the description of the SoundCloud track for that same link. So section 1, introduction to podcast and why you should use SoundCloud. Well, let's introduce podcasts and talk about audio recordings in a marketing context. Then we'll discuss microphones and whatnot. So what is the point in doing a podcast as a small business? Well, the answer is that it's an accessible, easy to consume format, and you can educate your audience about who you are and what you do passively, so people don't necessarily have to give a lot of attention. They can just press play and then they can do something else. And I think one of the keys in business nowadays anyway is who you are. I think that's a key phrase, because you want to give your audience the opportunity to know you, to like you, to trust you. And people can often download an MP3 podcast to their machine, their PC, their MP3 player, their phone, and they can listen to it later, or they can stream it by pressing the play button on a SoundCloud audio clip. And like I said, people don't necessarily have to look at the screen while they're listening, so they can click play and then they can go and do something else altogether. So, you know, there's lots of potential really. They could be cooking, they could be washing the dishes, checking emails, walking, driving, etc. Very passive. And the great thing is, it's different to conventional radio, because if you want to, you can control the production 100%. So you're not necessarily paying for voice artists, you're not paying for airtime. It can very much be a DIY situation, and it can be as long or as short as you want it to be. It can be quite nuanced. It can be authentic. You know, it's a dose of reality as opposed to these very highly polished adverts which just sound like every other advert on the radio. So I think there's a way to cut through that and sort of reach people in a very real, very authentic way. So SoundCloud, I mean, it's free to begin with. I mean, it gives you there's a free account that you can sign up for. I've signed up for the free account already and uploaded a profile picture, and it's really another social media website. It's just a little bit more interactive in my opinion, and you can upload music, you can upload spoken word. If you look at some of the tags on SoundCloud on the left hand side here, I know if you're listening to this on SoundCloud you can't see, but if you're watching the video, I'm just scrolling down the page, and you can see that people have uploaded audio books and spoken word and all sorts of things. And on the left hand side you've got all these different genres. Some of those are music, but if you scroll down you've got audio books, business, comedy, entertainment, learning, news and politics. I think SoundCloud are trying to get into the podcasting game. At this point in time, I don't think they know what they are, but they're progressive and pragmatic, which is always a good thing. So SoundCloud, they offer 120 minutes free. That's approximately that's exactly equivalent to 2 hours of recording time. And you can upgrade if you want to. Let's just have a look on this SoundCloud toolbar. Let's see what we've got. We've got the upload button here, and it says Go Pro. So the free account, which is the one I've got, is you get basic stats, likes, comments and downloads. Upload 2 hours total. That's pretty good. And then if you go Pro, you pay £4 a month or £35 a year. You can upload 4 hours total, and of course you get extra features. See who's playing your tracks, see what countries you're the most popular in, and then there's a third pricing tier, £9 a month or £79 annually, and supposedly you get unlimited tracks, but where it says unlimited there's a little asterisk, which means that terms apply. So I don't think it's really unlimited. There probably is a fair usage policy there, but again that gives you more options. So if you did decide to get dead serious about podcasting, you could go for the paid package if you wanted to, but I think the free account is pretty good, because if you think about it, you could do a series of 5-minute podcasts, and if you're doing 5-minute podcasts, you could do 24 of those, and 5 times 24 is 120, so that fills up the 2 hours, and that's quite a lot. If you keep your episodes short, I think you can do 24 episodes. So when it comes to recording, you're going to need something to record with, and you can use anything. You can use a USB headset, and you can find these on eBay for like £10. I bought a headset a couple of years ago. It's a USB one. It was like £5 with free delivery, and I tell you, the sound is great. And I think the USB technology has a lot to do with that. I'd try and avoid headsets which just plug directly into your sound card. I find they're a hassle, but the USB ones give a really good response. They're really clear. So you can get a headset off of eBay, or if you wanted, you could go for a slightly higher end mic. And there's a brand called Blue, who are known for manufacturing high quality mics, and there's a microphone, it's also USB, it's called the Snowflake, and I've actually used this before, because a few years ago I was living with I had a housemate who was into audio and things like that, and he had this very microphone, and I'm on eBay now just scrolling down through the listings. I just typed in Blue Snowflake microphone, and some of them are retailing at around 30 quid, but then you've got postage on top of that. So I reckon you could get one for like maybe 60 quid average, including delivery, and they are good. I think it's like an omnipresent mic, so like you get an all-round room sound. The other thing you could do is get an iPhone. Now you can get an iPhone on eBay. You can get the Apple iPhone 4S 16 gig unlocked for about 150 something pounds, 153 pounds 50 pence I'm looking at here, and this is a very, very good piece of technology. It's not only a phone and internet device, it's got a really good sound recorder, and if you want to be a little bit more portable, say like you're a small business and you could interview your customers, for example, if they consented to that, you could take your iPhone with you and have an interview with them and just capture a brief conversation, a testimonial, for example, on the iPhone, and the audio response on an iPhone is pretty good, I've got to say. But the thing is, you can buy the built-in mic is good, but you can buy microphones that plug in to the 3.5mm jack input on top of the iPhone, and that gives a really good response. And for the iPhone, I've got a mic attachment, it's like a mini microphone, and it's called the iRig Miccast by a brand called IK Multimedia, and I'm going to show you that in a minute because it's pretty sweet. But anyway, let's get back to SoundCloud. So you can get a SoundCloud app for the iPhone actually. Now, as it stands at the moment, I'm recording directly into SoundCloud. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see that I've recorded directly into my browser, and when I speak, you can see the waveform being created in real time. And at the moment, we're at 10 minutes 17 seconds, so that's just going to continue recording in the background simultaneously. I'm obviously recording this YouTube video, so that's being recorded as well, and I'm not going to do any editing with this apart from maybe just dropping in some clips of me using the iPhone SoundCloud app, which I'll get to in a minute. So yeah, let's talk about the SoundCloud app now actually. Now, you can download that free from the Apple Store, and it's great because you can install it, you can sign in to the SoundCloud app, and what you can do is you can actually record directly into your SoundCloud account through the iPhone. So you can log into SoundCloud, you can talk into the mouthpiece or into the microphone on top of the iPhone, which I've got, and that sound can be automatically uploaded live to your SoundCloud account. So you could be at a conference, you could be doing an interview, you could be recording a keynote speech, something to do with your industry or your trade, and then you could upload that directly to SoundCloud, which is pretty good, because if you've got followers and that sound appears, it will say, you know, published on by whatever your username is, and they can access your content, and it's great. So what you need in order to record directly into SoundCloud is something called audio copy, which you can also get in the iTunes store, the Apple Store. That's also free. You need to have that, and that has to work with SoundCloud. It's pretty easy. And if you're watching the YouTube video version of this podcast, I'm actually briefly going to switch over to a video of me actually recording myself using the iPhone and just demonstrating what you can do. So let's just get the camera going. Okay, so camera, video, and record. So you can now switch over. If you're watching the YouTube video, you can see what I'm talking about. I'm filming my iPhone, and on top of the iPhone is the iRig MicCast microphone. That was only £12 off eBay, would you believe it? Great value. So let's show the SoundCloud app. There it is. Now I'm already signed in, so I don't need to go through the process of signing in. I just need to go to this mini toolbar in the top right corner of the app, denoted by 3 grey dots. Press that. Record with audio copy. Now I downloaded audio copy already, so that's on the phone, and you need that in order to use SoundCloud. So let's go record with audio copy. So audio copy is opened up now, and we've got the record button. Okay, so if I press record and it says it's ready, you can see that the graphic equalizer, well, sorry, not equalizer, it's that's velocity, isn't it? If I press the red record button, testing 1 2 3, this is a test for SoundCloud. Okay, and then stop it by pressing the pause button. Okay, so that's recorded. That's 10 seconds. And if I press this green tick, it will now say, what do I want to do with that? Do I want to delete it? Do I want to save it? Do I want to put it on SoundCloud? I want to put this on SoundCloud, so I'll tap the SoundCloud icon, and it gives me a number of options. Do I want it to be public? Do I want it to be private? Do I want to add a description? Well, I'll make it public. I won't aggregate it to Facebook, Twitter or Tumblr like it's suggesting that I do. I'll just go post to SoundCloud, and it's already given it a title of Saturday 8:21 PM. That's the time at which that was recorded. Okay, so post to SoundCloud, uploading. Okay, so it's a very short clip, so it shouldn't take too long to upload. And it says that worked. Okay, that's great. So in a minute we'll see that sound appear in the SoundCloud account on my desktop PC. So I'm going to stop recording on the video camera and we're going to go back over to the recorded PC screen, back to the screencast. So stop that. Okay, so stop that. Get rid of the video camera footage. We'll put that into the YouTube video in post-production. Okay, so back to the PC screen. Now that should have been adequate enough time for the sound to appear. So let's go to Ilkeston Web Design and Tracks. No tracks yet. It will appear. It will. I know it will. Just got to give it time. Why has it not appeared? Oh, there it is. It has appeared 1 minute ago. So that took about 1 minute to process. I mean, if you try and access it too early, it'll say processing track. So let's take a look at the track. Let's click the name of the track, which so far is just Saturday 8:21 PM. You can change that and you can add a description as well. So let's click that. It's added some tags in there as well, audio copy. Now you can add your own tags. So, you know, if you're, I don't know, painter and decorator, you might want to add painting, decorating, interior design, that kind of thing. And let's have a look. Oh, it's still being processed. Oh, I thought it'd finished processing. Okay, well let's just refresh. Refresh. Ah, there it is. So now, testing, 1, 2, 3. This is a test for SoundCloud. Yeah, so that's great. So you can see the peaks and of the waveform there. And there's the option to download it. It's an MP3, 1.8 meg. I can turn that option off if I want to, so people can only stream it. But why do that? Give them the option to download it. Much better idea. You can share it as well. And a private share. All right, so you can copy that URL and you can paste it. So you can paste it into an email. You could paste it into a social network or something like that. Oh, this is a good option as well. Embed. Now, if you're on site, if you're listening, you can't see this, but if you're watching, you can. There's a great feature to embed, and it embeds in an iframe. So what I can do is I can highlight this chunk of code, right click and copy, and I can paste that into my website or blog. So when I eventually write the post all about SoundCloud for the website, for the Ilkeston Web Design website, I will be able to paste that player directly into the post. So what you'll get is the play button, and you'll be able to see the waveform. So you'll be able to see that, you know, that can be played instantly. And remember, it's ilkestonwebdesign.com/SoundCloud. Now there's something else you can do with SoundCloud. When people play your file, they can comment at a particular point in that waveform. So like if they play it, they can comment at 5 seconds, so that there might be a specific thing that I say, people can comment on that. So when another person plays back the sound in its entirety, at 5 seconds a message, a comment will pop up that another user has left, and it might say something like great advice or really useful, or if it's a song, fantastic saxophone here, you know. So people can comment in real time, and it's great. I mean, it's brilliant, and you can reply as well. The other thing you can do is create a playlist. So if you've got loads and loads of well, say you've got 24 episodes, you can create a playlist. So if you were to share one specific sound out of that playlist with your audience, when they click play, they can listen to that sound, but when that particular sound has finished playing, the next sound in the playlist will automatically play. So it's a great way to pull people in and show them, let them listen to all of your marketing messages. The other thing is these SoundCloud profiles quite often get indexed in Google search. So you might find that it's actually appearing, if someone types in your business keyword, say they're searching for a painter and decorator in Derby, it might well be that SoundCloud appears in the list of results. So if you're using the correct keywords and tags and all that, it could very well appear. Okay, so section 2, let's talk about some examples. Now, I don't have any visuals to show you really, so if you're watching a YouTube video, you're going to have to bear with me here and just stare at this hypnotic image of a waveform being created, because I'm recording live into SoundCloud. You can just see this waveform being created in real time. So example 1 for a business owner is that you could be a carpet fitter, like a sole trader. You fit and supply carpets, and you might have a website already, and in order to make the website content a bit more interactive, you could record some downloadable audio and publish that to your SoundCloud account. And it could be that you're saving yourself time, so you don't have to repeat answers to common questions. So you could do a 5-minute clip about how to get red wine stains out of a beige carpet, or what to do with a carpet with mold on it because of flood damage or water damage, or if someone's had a carpet installed incorrectly and it's buckling or something's happened to it, you might be able to give advice about that, or you could tell people how to use a steam cleaner properly on a carpet. That's one example. Second example is that you could be a kitchen designer, interior supplier, fitter of kitchens. You might want to do a series of audio recordings where you talk about different types of interiors, the geographical area that you serve, how long you've been in business, the insurance cover you've got, regulations you're approved for, what else, payment types, how to get started with a brand new interior plan. You could interview members of your team as a piece of audio, 5 minutes say. You could record customer testimonials and then put them all together in one file and then upload. You could record incoming telephone calls via Skype. It's possible to do that with permission, of course. It's illegal to do it without people's permission. And then you can make that available as a SoundCloud recording. So it's a conversation between you and the customer, and if they've consented, it's basically them agreeing to give you a testimonial. So another thing is, another example 3 is if you're a restaurant owner, it could be an opportunity for you to do something a bit different to all the other restaurants in the area. Let's say you're an Indian restaurant. You could do an audio recording in your kitchen where you introduce yourself and you're talking to the head chef as a piece of audio, and he could talk about the herbs and the spices used in the dishes, and you could do that whilst he's cutting up the garlic. You know, chop, 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 and you can hear him doing that whilst he's talking about, you know, how long has he been cooking for and his passion for food and all that. And that mini microphone that I showed you for the iPhone, the iRig, that gives fantastic quality sound, because I've actually tried this already, and it really, if you're frying food, it really picks up the sizzle. It really sounds like it's really close to the camera, so it's brilliant, you know. And if you are a restaurant owner, I don't know, maybe you could go from table to table and just sit down and just talk to the customers. Obviously, you'd arrange that prior to doing it. You wouldn't just spring it upon them, but you could say, I'm going to come and talk to you about what you had for the main course. Is that okay? They'll say, oh, yeah, it's okay. And that's a way to generate audio content, and people can listen to that and get a great idea of how nice your restaurant might be to dine in. The other thing a restaurant owner could do is talk to suppliers of their produce, especially if it's a local business who supplies that restaurant, like a farmer or a local grocer. So a casual chat with people like that could give them exposure too. And again, it demonstrates to your customer that you care about the community. What else? Example 4, music teacher. It's common sense really, because it's the ideal format, and it could be that although you might be wanting to you might want to do a video where you're showing how to position your fingers on the guitar chord. Well, if you're doing a piece of audio, you could say to people, well, in order to see the video where I demonstrate this in video format, go to mywebsite.com/guitar, and people go there and they can see the video, and that audio was a way of sending them to another a different website, so. And this way of cross-promoting content can be pretty effective. So if you're a music teacher, you might want to play some of your instruments. You might want to talk about how much to spend on the guitar, how to change strings. There's loads of potential. And another thing is, if you're advertising your services in newspapers or magazines, you want to create an advert where the sole purpose of that advert is to advertise the fact that you do have a podcast. And you can use a website URL and a QR code and some nice graphics and say, look, come and listen to me talk about what a great music teacher I am and what I can do for you and why I can help you. And again, that helps people to get to know you, to like you, to trust you. Example 5, I'm going through this as fast as I can. Example 5, photographer. Now, photography is obviously visual, but there's no reason why audio cannot work as well for that niche. And as long as you realize the listener needs you to be a little bit more descriptive to really paint that picture in their mind's eye, you can definitely use audio podcasting. And you could be talking about the sorts of lenses that you use, what model of camera, shutter speeds, tripods, equipment, lighting, and that sort of thing. Now, I'm not a photographer, so a lot of this to me is just conjecture off the top of my head, but the concept of what I'm explaining is very real, and it's definitely worth exploring. Let's say that you're convinced, okay, and you want to try audio podcasting. What you need to realize is this: it's not all about being self-promotional necessarily. I mean, okay, you're in business to make money, that's fine, but you want to try and think about being useful, helpful, informative, problem solving, educational, maybe even amusing or funny. But like I say, you're in business to make money, so come up with a strategy. But I would say be generous with your content and see what you can give away freely, because people will appreciate that. Now, this leads me to section 3, which is concerns or worries or questions that you might have about podcasting. This is the last section, okay. So you might be worried that you're allowing people to take advantage of you, that they're getting this free information or advice out of you and they won't pay. They will take what you've given them, this information, they will solve the problem themselves and they'll never come back. That's a question that I hear a lot, and this is my response. Don't worry about giving away secrets, quote unquote, and losing sales, because you could just as easily get people calling you on the phone to get that information anyway. You do get that. People do call up and they will spend an hour asking all these questions, and you think they're going to buy something, and then at the last minute they might say, oh yeah, thanks for the information, and then you never hear from them again. Now, everybody knows that feeling. Everyone's been there. So if people are going to do that, I mean, it stands to reason that you'd rather them get the information from these podcasts rather than waste your time on the phone, So, you've got to be a bit philosophical and think that, even if you do give away this content, and even if somebody does just do a disappearing act, and they never actually spend money with you, what you've got to realise is that there's probably a good chance that they'll come back to you the next time that they are prepared to spend money, because they've listened to your content and they're convinced that you know what you're talking about. Or they might realise that they can't do as good a job as you, so they're more likely to come back to you as opposed to the competitor who isn't doing anything with regards to content like video or audio or that sort of thing. And there's a good chance they could recommend a friend, or they could share your podcast on social media. They might tweet it or like it or Google +1 it, So don't be too concerned about the few people who use your knowledge without fairly compensating you, because by not doing podcasts or any type of content for that matter, you might end up excluding people who are willing to pay you for what you know. So don't take it away from the many people who appreciate and need it just because of the few who aren't going to pay. So they were 5 examples to give you some ideas, and we've talked about objections and should you do this at all. Another thing that you might be concerned about is that you don't consider yourself to be a presenter. You might not have any ideas for style or presentation. Maybe you don't like the sound of your voice, or you may feel that you trip over your words or make mistakes and you think, oh God, I've got to do it again, and you have to re-record it from the beginning, and before you know it, you're on take 25 and you feel that you're not getting anywhere. Well, let me tell you now, it's okay to make mistakes. In fact, I encourage you to leave the mistakes in the recordings, because it's perfectly natural to make digressions or mispronounce words. In real life, people do say the wrong thing. They do trip over the words, but they just correct themselves, say sorry and move on. People do sneeze. It's okay to sneeze. I mean, don't sneeze directly into the microphone. It's going to be very loud, but just look the other way and just sneeze and then leave that in. I mean, it's a bit of authenticity, and why go back and edit it? There's no need to get anally retentive or try and get it to be perfect. So what I suggest you do is perhaps get a good idea of what you want to say first. Maybe come up with some bullet point notes and just have them handy. I've got some notes next to me. I've actually got the notes on my iPad screen, so as I'm talking to you, I'm actually scrolling through my notes so I don't forget what to say or I don't leave anything out. And get a good idea of what you want to say first, and then just record it as if you're talking on the phone to someone. If you get worked up over the so-called rules of podcasting, you just suck the fun out of it. And there shouldn't be any rules per se. Best practices maybe, but I wouldn't say there's rules to podcasting. It's a new medium, so best practice, I'd say, try not to leave too many gaps or silences if possible. So if there's a gap of 10 seconds, people might think something's gone wrong. Maybe that's the end of the recording, or maybe their browser's crashed or something like that. Use a decent microphone. We've talked about microphones. You can get a USB headset, or you can spend a bit of money on the higher end microphones, but to get started you can just use a headset or even your iPhone. The other thing is be family friendly. I wouldn't swear and curse, and the other thing is don't badmouth other people. Don't put other people down, because that only reflects badly on you. Speak clearly, enunciate, and finally, most importantly, know your audience. Know who you're talking to. Don't just shotgun. Try and target a specific type of person. Oh, one last thing: avoid putting on airs and graces. You're not giving a speech at the Royal Albert Hall. It's just a podcast, it's just a friendly chat with your audience. There's no need to get nervous and start using words that you wouldn't usually use just because you think it sounds impressive. Just be yourself. In the age of information overload, you need to try and cut through all the other noise that is out there, and you want to try and stand out against all that meaningless drivel. you know, those car insurance adverts? Well, just think for a moment how those adverts make you feel when you see them on the TV. Okay, and you get adverts like that on the radio as well, and I don't know about you, but I tend to tune it out a bit. You can talk about whatever you like, just give value and give information away freely, and I think people will be much more receptive to you, and they'll feel good about your business. So that's it, that's the end of this recording. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for watching. You can subscribe by clicking the subscribe button. If you're listening on SoundCloud, you can like and share this sound with your social network if you want to. You can leave a comment as well if you want. So like I was saying to you earlier, you can leave a comment at a specific part of the recording. So you can go back, you can rewind and press play again, and then you can leave a comment at a specific part of the video, and I'll get back to you. So thanks ever so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.